Alright guys, so you've already seen where we put this on here. Okay, this has the bleeder attachment on the top, and then we'll pull back. What I've done is, and I'm not going to put this on the car today because I don't have the right fitting. Nowhere had it. Home Depot didn't have it, hardware stores didn't have it, and the hydraulic supply store didn't have it. But what you need is a 3-way barbed fitting, and this is a threaded fitting. This might work, but I'm not going to use this. Also, this hose that I have here in my hand is smaller than this hose in diameter. It was a big rainstorm, and I thought that I had it figured out when I went inside based off of how thick this was compared to my thumb, and of course I guessed wrong because it doesn't say anything on. I think this is a 5/8 hose, and this is a 1/2-inch hose. So that being the case, anyhow, what this will eventually do, and this hose here is too long, I bought extra, but what I have here on the end of this is a bleed fitting from a radiator, and right now it's sealed closed, and then of course when you twist it this way, then it would then it will bleed once you twist it that way, and then of course when you twist it the other way, it's closed. So the whole purpose of this system that I'm setting up here is, let's zoom out here, you put the T right here, right? And then you run this hose up here, and of course you'd cut the hose off right up here. And you have this hose here. Well, now this hose is your new highest point in the system. And if you have this T over here plugged into this line right here, well then it gives your system a chance to get air. Now if you're gonna do this, what I recommend that you do, this hose here probably isn't that much money to replace from GM. Granted, it's gonna be more than what at the hardware store, but it's not gonna break the bank. What I would recommend doing is cutting it here and cutting it here. And then what I would do is with this T, I would actually put the T like this and have this open end here. Okay, this end here would be where your new hose, dead end hose, would attach. And what that would do is it would give the air a chance to go straight as the rest of the fluid takes a left and goes into the blower. Now, I've already kind of mentioned to G-Speed and LG Motorsports and a few of the other ones, asking them if they'd had any success using 2 pumps in this system, and that was before I realized that's what the ZR1s are using, is 2 pumps. Now, rather than quarrel with everybody on Corvette Forum who is giving bad information right now, the gist of it is this. First and foremost, this system here, who was it, G-Speed, came back with an argument that it's not wise to separate this system into 2 halves because one half could get a different temperature than the other half in the engine bank. Well, I don't know what blower you're talking about, guys, but this blower, you cannot separate the fluid into 2 halves. Just because you put 2 pumps on the system doesn't mean that you've created 2 halves of the system like the ZR1 has. So what we have here is we have an inlet hose and an outlet hose, and whether you have 30 pumps attached to this hose, it's not going to change the fact that all the fluid coming in is the same temperature, and all the same temperature fluid coming in is going to equally disperse across the 2 bricks inside the blower. So I don't even know what you guys are talking about. But as far as the 2 pumps go, the purpose for the 2 pumps is, the best way I know how to put it is, if you've ever had to tow a buddy in a boat at a lake, and you floor it with your boat, or he floors it with his boat, whoever's doing the towing, the prop will cavitate, and that's because you have a load that you're having to pull. Well, simple common sense is, if you have 2 props in the water, you're not going to cavitate even half as much. Okay, the props are going to grab. You might not cavitate at all. So it's not just a half as much situation, it can be a very black and white situation. It can become cavitation in this scenario with 1 prop pulling my buddy's boat, trying to pull him 20 miles per hour, and no cavitation when I pull it with this other boat that has 2 props in the water at 20 miles per hour. So cavitation's a really big deal, guys, for those of you who don't understand it, and it seems as though a lot of you don't. So you need to do your homework on propellers on boats. Is a great place to start. Stainless steel props, when they experience cavitation, it's almost like there's a little mini fusion reaction or fission reaction that happens, because it literally puts little welding pit marks in the stainless steel prop. So as the cavitation occurs in solid, clear lake water, okay, you take off from a dig and you floor it, and cavitation occurs, your prop literally has little pits all over it where there were these little, physics doesn't really explain it yet. It's one of those things that we know it's there, but if you ask the physicist to explain it, he'll talk to you for 10 minutes about it and just say a whole lot of nothing. They don't really know what's causing the spark that literally melts steel, because that's what cavitation does. And that's why GM has this pump shut off, the stock pump down here. That's why they have it shut off, is because when it experiences cavitation, it's actually tearing up the pump, as well as it's not doing its job of pumping the fluid through the system. So by adding a second pump that's pumping at the exact same speed, all you're doing is essentially you're adding more grip. Instead of having one tire on the pavement, now you've got two. Or you've doubled the width of your tires is essentially what's going on. So where you might have burnt out with the thinner tire, now you're not burning out at all with the thicker tire. That's why GM on the zr1 put the two pumps. Now granted, the zr1 system is longer, but we need to clear some things up. The zr1 system is still not two halves. If you take a rubber band and you bend the rubber band, twist it, one twist, the rubber band is now a crazy 8. Well, that crazy 8, if you then fold it over on itself so that you have two loops on top of each other, stacked too high, and it's just a single loop looking at it from above, that's essentially what the zr1 system is. It's a crazy 8 that's folded over on itself. So even there's not two separate circuits. So I really have no clue what, anyway. So all that being said, is that system a longer circuit than this system? Absolutely. But do they have any reservoir tank at all on the zr1? The answer is no. So if you don't have a reservoir tank on the zr1 and it's not shutting down the pumps like these cars are, which we're going to get the data on that soon, I'm going to venture to say that the zr1 pumps are the way to go. If you put two of those in these cars, it's probably going to be amazing, and you're going to flow more fluid, and it's going to start to rain on us now. Now, before it starts to rain, real quick, I got a much longer hose from Home Depot than this hose here, and that's going to allow us to do our experiment without pulling vacuum. The car is still too hot right now, so that's why I'm not doing anything at the moment. But I'm going to get back in the car, and the video will come shortly of how quickly you can actually vac purge the system when you use a longer hose and you don't have to use the reservoir. I think I can get it done in 20 minutes.